Today we are going to be working on Chapter 9 on probability, Lesson 6, which is on permutations. And our essential question, as it is for the entire chapter, is how can you predict the outcome of future events? More specifically, what we'll be learning today is to find a permutation and to use permutations to find probabilities. So our vocabulary term for today is permutations, which is an arrangement or listing of a group of objects in which order is important. For example, if you were scheduling your classes for next year and you had 3 different options to take, so you could do math, science, or language arts, and you wanted to see which order your classes could be in and all of the different types of orders that you could have. So what you can do is, you know that there are 3 choices for your first class, okay? You could either do science, language arts, or math. Now for your second choice, there's only 2 remaining because you first chose to do, let's say you first chose to do math. Now, you can't take math again. Obviously, you can't do 2 math classes, or you can't do the same 2 math classes. So now you have only 2 options. You only have science and language arts left. And then for your last one, there's only 1 choice left because let's say you did language arts for your second, and then you can do science for your last. Now, to see all of the total outcomes, if you multiply all of them together, you're going to find the total number of permutations. And this is the number of permutations of 3 classes. So it's a number of, like, the arrangement, the different orders that you can arrange the 3 classes. So now for this one, exactly how we found it in the example of the vocabulary, this is the same exact thing. This is just a written out example of it. So Julia is scheduling her first 3 classes. Her choices are math, science, and language arts. Use the fundamental counting principle to find the number of different ways Julia can schedule her first 3 classes. Like we said, there are only 3 different choices, so we know for the first option there are 3. Then once you choose one, then there's 2 left, and then there's 1, which would be 6, and then 6 times 1, which would be just 6. So there are 6 possible arrangements or permutations of the 3 classes. So number 2, an ice cream shop has 31 flavors. Carlos wants to buy a 3-scoop cone with 3 different flavors. How many cones could he buy if the order of the flavors is important? So he wants 3 different flavors for his 3-scoop cone. So that means we have 1 scoop, the second scoop, and the third scoop. And we're going to find out how many options he has for the first, second, and the third. So for the first one, he has 31 different options because that's all the flavors. Now he doesn't want to repeat a flavor, so now for the second scoop, he only has 30, and then he has 29, which if you multiply these 3 numbers together, you get 26,970. So that's a lot of different cones. So Carlos could buy 26,970 different cones. So now to find permutations, and if it wasn't written in a word problem like this, if it was just kind of like a skills practice problem, it would be written a little bit differently, obviously. So the problem would be like, so number 2, let's say, we would be written as the permutation or the probability of 31, because there are 31 different options for the first one, but you only want to go until 3. So that's how it would be written. It would say find P of 31, 3. So you'd have 31 different options, and you'd only go 3 different spaces. So you would only be multiplying 3 numbers. So you would do 31 times 30 times 29. So for example, with this one, number 3, this is how it's written out. So we know that there are 8 different options for the first one, and we're only going to go in 3 numbers. So for the first option, we have 8, then we have 7, and then we have 6. So we multiply 8 times 7 times 6, which is 336. So, number 4, which is the last question, Ashley's MP3 player has a setting that allows the songs to play in a random order, so like a shuffle. And an MP3 is kind of like an iPod, and it plays music. So, she has a playlist that contains 10 different songs. What is the probability that the MP3 player will randomly play the first 3 songs in order? So we know that our total is 10, and we only want the first 3. So I would like you to pause the podcast, find the permutations, and then find the probability of that the MP3 player will randomly play the first 3 songs in order. So we know that we're finding the permutations of 10, 3 because it's 10 songs and it's the first 3 songs. And it is 10 times 9 times 8, and that is 720 total different outcomes. And since we want the first 3 songs in order, there's only one out of the 720 ways to do that. It's not going to repeat again. That's only one of the different outcomes, and no outcome is alike. So the probability that the first 3 songs will play in order is 1 out of 720. So make sure that you are writing down any questions that you do have. We will go over some permutations in class. And please have a good night or a good day.